If you're watching this, you're in the right place for wildlife and Africa. This is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Welcome to Safari Live. My name's Hayden Turner and we are sitting in the middle of the African bush on the Djuma Game Reserve in Sabi Sand, South Africa. It's a magical morning here. It's 12 degrees Celsius, or if you're in America and you're watching, it's about 54 Fahrenheit. And this is a very, very special transmission we're doing this morning. Particularly, it's a special school project for the New South Wales schools in Australia through Taronga Zoo Education Department. And welcome everyone that's watching anywhere else in the world. It's great to have you with us. I've got Jean on camera. He's with me this morning and it is just a beautiful morning. There's a bit of cloud cover this morning, so it's going to be a little bit darker, a little bit longer. So about 10 or 15 minutes we'll get a bit more light. But we thought we'd just come back down. Last night we left these beautiful, beautiful cubs with their mum, a leopard down here, but the rules are that when it's this type of sort of darkness or this type of light, we don't put any lights on the cubs or anything like that. So we're just going to leave it for a little bit. We're going to stay in the area. Just to give you a bit of an update, last night we had lions roaring around our camp. So there's lions on the property. We've got Brent Leo Smith out on a walk, which is very, very exciting, and that's going to be coming to you live as well, and James Hendry on another vehicle. So we've got 3 different people, all different in different locations around. So what I'm going to do really quickly is I want to read out the schools that are watching, because I think that's really important. We get that out now and we tell you who is watching from what schools. And when you hear your school's name, I want you to give a massive shout out so we can hear you in Africa, okay? Here we go. These are the schools that are watching this morning. Hassel Grove Public School, Warwick Farm Public School, Lansdowne Public School, Dareton Public School, Mingoola Public School, Janelli East Public School, Canley Heights Public School, Tyala Public School, Chittaway Public School, Marulan Public School, Parameadows Special School, Hayes Park Public School, Nowra East. I think you were with us yesterday as well, Nowra. Fantastic to have you again. Modenville Public School, Carlton Public School, John Palmer Public School, Skeggs Redlands. Wow, guys, that's just around the corner from where I live. So that's fantastic to have you on board as well. Victoria Avenue Public School, Redlands Junior School as well. Brilliant stuff. Camaray, just right near where I live as well. And Stratford Public School. So that is absolutely brilliant, and it's nearly 1,000 students watching this morning. Makes us very, very proud and very, very excited to have you all on board. Now, it might look like I'm crying a little bit here, but we've just been driving through the wind to get down to this location. So what I'm going to do is tootle along down here. It's getting a bit lighter. We're going to see what we can find. There could be anything out there. And if you've got any questions, you email them to us at questions@WildEarth.tv, and we've got a fantastic group of people in our what we call our final control centre, and they feed us the questions through our earpiece, and we can answer you live. This is the exciting thing. So we're going to get on our way, and then we'll cross over to the other guys and see what they're up to and see if we can find those lines for you. Remember, everyone, that this is the African bush. We're just going to go down here, so whilst we're looking for something, I'm going to cross over to the wonderful James Hendry and he can introduce himself and say hi to everyone. We'll see you right now.
Good morning, everyone there in Australia specifically. It's not morning for you, of course. I believe it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. My name is James Hendry. On camera today we've got Brian the Thumb Joubert. Brian the Thumb looks... Oh, he's got his tie on today, doesn't he?
Yeah, minimalist tie.
A minimalist tie. That's a tie, everybody. Brian is not a small man. He's about 6'4". I am not that tall. I'm not going to tell you how tall I am. because it's not relevant. And we're on a live safari, as Hayden has told you, in the northeast corner of the world's most beautiful country. Now, I'm sure all of you Australians think that you live in the world's most beautiful country. Well, we're out to show you that you do not today, and we're going to drive around this little patch of land and see what exciting things we can find. We had, as Hayden told you, the most unbelievable experience with 4 lionesses and a buffalo last night, and we've come into that area to see if we can't find some sign of how that unfolded. The buffalo, the most amazing thing about it was the horrible raking sound of the buffalo's skin being torn or rent by the lion's claws as they jumped up on and then kicked with their hind legs. Now, I don't know if any of you have got house cats. I suspect many of you do. And you know when a house cat's playing, it rakes with its back legs, and sometimes if they're not playing, they stick their claws out. Well, imagine a house cat that is, lioness is roughly about 180 kilograms, so that's about 20 times the size of a normal house cat. And you imagine the size of your house cat with 20 times that size, raking away at the skin. It's a terrifying and horrible thing. But the buffalo got away. Clever fellow that he was, brave fellow. He made a horrible bellowing noise. He's in these bushes somewhere around here. We don't want to go walking through here right now. You don't want to find a buffalo bull on his own. Very irritated still by the lions that he saw. The lions walked off up this road. We're going to see if we can find their tracks. You can see the dawn has yet to break. There's just a little bit of light from the sun. You can see there a bit of a cold front has moved in during the course of the evening, and there the sun is going to pop up fairly soon. So we've got the spotlight out, and we're driving quite slowly because we don't want to miss anything. And that is the general play. Now, please do talk to us during the course of our little drive. I think the Australian schools are only with us for an hour, so try and get your questions in. We'll answer anything you like, well, within reason, of course. And we'd really like to enthuse you about this incredible wilderness area. Yes, this is an incredible wilderness area, possibly one of the most incredible ones in the world, but wherever you happen to be in the world, especially in Australia, there are lots of great wilderness areas there, and so that we hope that we can enthuse and instill some kind of enjoyment of the wild here that you can enjoy back home as well. Righty, the other thing to tell you is that we're going to try and add to our list and get to 100 species. That can be trees and grasses or birds or spiders or mammals or whatever else it is that we find. So we'll do that, and while I'm on the hunt for species, let's go back to Hayden and get an update from him.
Fantastic stuff from James there, and he's out looking for anything he possibly can as well. So we've just come around a corner here and we're just doing a little bit of a scan. This is what we do in the mornings, guys. We go down, we look at some water points, and we just have a bit of a drive around. We look for tracks as well. Tracks are really important. So we've got a question. Got a question from Zara in Tyala Public School. Welcome aboard. So lovely to hear you and see you. I'm going to come to your question in a second. I think we've got a little duiker down here. Oh, very, very difficult to see in the dark. But you can just see there, just running across. I think it was a duiker. I couldn't quite see there. It was a duiker, wasn't it? It's a beautiful little antelope, very, very timid little antelope running down there. But Zara, you're asking if we come and do this every day. We certainly do. I work at Taronga Zoo, Zara, so I come and do this when I get an opportunity, and I'm really, really lucky to be here. I used to do this a little bit more often, but now I work back at the zoo. I just thought it'd be a fantastic thing to connect the zoos with these live drives. Do you believe this, Zara? We're coming to you live from Africa, and I'm talking to you in your classroom with your school. Tyala Public School, you rock. Fantastic for being on board. And yeah, we do this every day. Fantastic. Another question from Tyala, fantastic. Charlie, are buffaloes nocturnal? Well, they're not really, Charlie. They do walk around at night, but they normally find a nice place to sort of sit at night in an open area. They're mainly operating during the day or walking around during the day. They're grazing animals, so they'll be grazing on grasses, but sometimes they eat a few bushes and things when the food supply is not fantastic. So they do walk around at night, but sometimes you'll see them, you'll come across them all sitting in a group, looking after each other. Buffalo are very social animals, which means they do have a really sort of good mix of males and females in the herd there, and they'll sit there and they'll look after each other. They protect each other fiercely, particularly from one creature, which we did hear last night, lion. So what we're doing now is driving up a road here that there's two properties between us, and the animals don't have any fences, they just walk from side to side. We're looking for some more. I'm just going to drive up the road and then cut back in here. But fantastic question, Charles. We do find some buffalo. We'll definitely show you, okay? A question from Kirsty in Parameadows. Fantastic to have you on board, Parameadows. Great stuff to see that you're watching this live. Do you think we'll find any lines? Look, great to understand that we're in the African bush. We're definitely not in a place that we can just go to an animal exactly where they're sitting every place the same day. We have to go searching for them, and it does take a lot of effort, and we really have to keep our eyes open. Gendre on the back here operating the camera, he's got a really keen set of eyes as well. He sits up a little bit higher than I do, so he'll be looking around as well, keeping his eyes wide open. We'll cut back in here and see what we can see, but it's getting a bit lighter now as well. So we're only about 10 minutes into our live broadcast, so we've got 50 minutes to see what we can find. Anything we can find we will show you. But it's a bit cold here this morning. It's 12 degrees, and as we're driving I start to have tears coming out of my eyes, so I'm not crying because I'm feeling sad. I'm just crying because it's cold. What do you reckon, Gendre? Lansdowne Public School, welcome aboard. Give us a big cheer, guys. Fantastic to hear you're on board. This is the biggest safari vehicle in the world, and you guys, I've got 1,000 kids on the back of this. This is brilliant. Lansdowne, you're asking whether what time it is here. It is 6:10 in the morning. We've been up since about 4:30 this morning to get this ready, and so we're 8 hours behind you. You're ahead of us in time, Australia, and we're in South Africa, and your teachers can probably show you and have a look on a map and have a little chat about time zones and how that works. So I've been out here for about 2 or 3 weeks now. I've been in another country called Namibia, which is west of South Africa, and I've been over there doing a bit of work as well. So I'm only here for a week, which is, I love being here, but I've got a really wonderful little boy and wife at home as well in Australia, so I'm really looking forward to get back to them. But Lansdowne, fantastic to have you on board, and give us a big cheer, because I can't believe that you're watching live from Australia. It's just brilliant. Hats off to all the teachers too. All the teachers that got this together. Give your teachers a bit of a round of applause, everyone. Everyone, I want you to hear giving your teachers a clap to thank them for putting this together and getting you on board this live safari from Africa. Right, Gendre, we need to rub our lucky hands together. I want to hear everyone in Australia rubbing their lucky hands together to find us some creatures. So it's a really good thing to know. We need to make sure that we understand that this is wild, and sometimes the animals are here and sometimes they're not. We're going to do our best, but I'm going to cross over to James because I think he's got something really interesting to show you.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm standing here on a termite mound surveying the landscape to see something that has occurred during the night. Now, I'm sure, as Hayden has said, anything can happen around the corner, and the roads are a particularly important part of what we do because they have the tracks. They are basically the morning newspaper, is how the cliche goes. And we can see what moved around during the course of the night and hopefully what it did. That over there is the west, and I can see another road sort of off in the distance there, and I was hoping to see if something wasn't in between us and them. There isn't anything there at the moment. We're going to head off to the west. There's a dam over there. Animals do like to drink in the night, and if you look around the landscape here, you can see that we're in the middle of something of a drought, and we're also in the middle of the dry season, so animals do like to have a drink around the night time now. I'm standing on a termite mound. Now, you've all got termites there in Australia, and this particular termite is called Macrotermes natalensis. You can tick that off as a species, and they make these tremendous castles of clay, and there are probably more than 1 million termites in that termite mound. The most interesting thing about them, of course, well, there are thousands of interesting things about them, but the queen termite is this big. She's 1/2 foot, 15 centimeters long. She lays 20,000 eggs every day. Now, I reckon your average termite probably lives, say, about a month or so. But if you multiply 20,000 by, say, 30 days, that is about 6 million termites a month that she lays. So you can imagine how many termites there must be inside that mound. Building away, they're a bit dormant at the moment, because it's quite cold. We're still in the middle of winter, as you all are in Australia. But it's starting to warm up a bit, and the termites will become more and more active. Righty, on we go. Still no sign of those lions. I've seen a few hyena tracks on the road, but we haven't found any sign of the lions. And the other important thing to do on a morning like this is to listen. You've got to do a lot of listening out here, a lot of smelling. They're not two senses we're often very good at using anymore as human beings, but you've got to have a good listen, see if the lions are roaring, see if you can hear them feeding, see if you can hear a leopard perhaps making a territorial call, or an impala making an alarm call. There is an impala, everybody. This is our most common antelope. Do you see it, Brian? Oh, there it is. Well, there are a few more over there. I think there are a few more. Let's just carry on. That's an impala, everyone. He's just relieving himself in the morning. He's woken up and he's needed to go to the loo, so that's what he's doing. There we are. Now, let's watch him carefully. Hello, Maya from Athelgrove. Maya, you want to know how we look for footprints? Well, we just look on the ground, Maya. It's exactly the same. You've been on a beach, I'm sure. You've seen the tracks of dogs on a beach, for example. It's exactly the same. We just look for their footprints in the sand, in the soft sand. It's very difficult in the hard sand, but in the soft sand, that's where we're looking. Now, that's an impala, the most common antelope we get here. It's a male. You can see he's got big horns. And he's also relieving himself because he's been sat all night, probably, re-chewing the food that he ate during the day. Now, many of you will know that a cow is a ruminant. And a ruminant, of course, is an animal that re-chews its food. So you'll see he's starting to graze again now. He'll swallow that food. That'll go into the first stomach. And he'll then lie down when the first stomach is full, like he did last night, regurgitate it into his mouth, re-chew it very finely, and then it'll go down into the other 3 chambers of the stomach, and eventually it will go out. I guess it's just done this morning. Hello, Nicholas. At Hasselgrove School, you want to know what animals we see most often? Well, probably the impala, actually. That's the most common antelope that we see here. But remember, an animal can be a termite, it can be a bird, it can be a reptile, an amphibian, it can be a spider or a scorpion. But that's probably the most obvious one right there. Now, we've got 2 birds close by here. I'm not sure if they're on the species list. And there is a fork-tailed drongo just above another young impala. Lila, you want to know if we ever touch the animals. We don't touch the animals, Lila. This is a completely wild area. It's not a zoo. It's a game reserve. And so, you know, if I was to get out of the car and walk towards that impala, he would run away. He wouldn't let me get anywhere near him. That's a fork-tailed drongo. You can see that, obviously, because it has, Brian, a
Forked tail.
Correct. It has a forked tail, a tail that looks like a fork. And there are lots of different kinds of drongos in the world. Only 2 out here. Listen to him calling. I'm going to be quiet for a second. He stopped calling now, but that doesn't matter, because Hayden has got something really special to show you.
Wow. Can you see anything in this picture? Look at that. A spotted hyena. And we just came around the corner to a location that we were at yesterday. Now, a couple of the schools that are watching today were with us yesterday, and this location, if you were with us, is the same location that the leopard was. Karula, a really famous leopard that we sat with, and her cubs were with her as well. Now, she had some food for her youngsters. She had an Impala, which you just saw with James, that we have to understand that this is a wild place, everyone. And you know what, if you haven't done food chains yet, or you're not at that stage at school, then maybe the teachers could explain a little bit about that to you. But if you have done food chains, you'll know that the carnivores, what we call the apex predators, the ones that are at the top of the mountain, the top of the food chain, right at the top, are the carnivores, the lions, the leopards, the hyenas, the cheetahs, and things like that over here. So really important to understand how that works all the way down. There's a hyena. Do you want to see something else? We've got a question from Adelpho in Redlands Junior School. How long do the cubs stay with the mother and father for? Well, it depends, you know, there's a lot of different stories, but about 18 months to about 2 years they'll be sort of kicking around with the parent, but then she'll start to push them away, particularly, this is in what we're talking about with leopards. So the cubs at the moment with Karula are 7 months old. They were born on the 2nd of February here. So we've got a hyena over here because we knew that he was going to smell that food over the next couple of days, and he will come, or she will come. Very hard to tell males and females that apart in hyena. Beautiful, beautiful animal, and I really want to tell you kids, really important to understand that these animals are as beautiful as all the other animals around. They fit into the ecosystem very importantly. They are really, really interesting animals. They're not quite dogs and they're not quite cats. They fit into this middle sort of ground. They're more like cats than they are dogs. Now the females are in charge, and the females are much bigger than the males. The females, they have what's called a communal den, so there might be different females in that den, and when they have cubs, the males don't spend any time around there and are not really allowed anywhere close to the den when they've got cubs. So they're really fantastic animals, very, very interesting as well. And you have to understand that, you know, all the stories you may have heard about hyenas, I want you to put them to the side and walk away from Safari Live this morning knowing that you're looking at a beautiful, wonderful, wonderful creature, the spotted hyena, who fits into the ecosystem very, very well in Africa. Now, you might want to do a project at school and do a little bit more work on that and have a look at all the apex predators, or all the top carnivores in Africa, and have a little look about what's important about them and where they fit in. Now, Gendre and I got very excited a second ago because we thought, we can't find the leopard. We can't find the leopards anywhere. Can anyone see anything in this picture? A tree trunk. Have a close look at this. Can anyone see it? First school to email us, I'll give you an extra special shout out. Anyone see anything in there? Uh-oh, what's that? I can see a few spots. I can see a few spots in there. There is a leopard sitting right there. See those spots? There's a leopard. That is Karula. She's hiding up in that tree because leopards and hyena don't get on very well, that's for sure. Both big carnivores, and what happens is once the leopard has a kill, they normally will hoist it up that tree to get it away from other predators like lion and hyena, And that's the advantage that the leopard has. They are the most incredible climbing cat. They can do things that no other cats can do, and they will drag that food up into that tree. So you've got in that same picture there that Jandre's got, we've got the leopard in that tree, and we've got the hyena waiting down there to try and get any little bits of food that she drops. And she would have had put her cubs somewhere very, very safe, and they'll be well out of harm's way. So whilst we're sitting here watching this hyena and see what happens, we're going to cross over to another very, very special member of our team, Brent Leo Smith, who is actually walking in the African bush, and we're sending you these signals live from Africa. It's so good to have you on board, kids. Can't wait to come back to you. Let's go and see what Brent's up to.
Welcome to the middle of the African bush on a live safari. I'm on foot. My name is Brent Leo Smith. I have the incredible cameraman VM with me, and we've got Herbie behind us on security patrol, making sure while I'm talking to you, nothing sneaks up to me. So it's really dark this morning, but we are tracking lions. And if we have a careful look with my torch, we can see there's a lion print down here. And they were hunting buffalo last night, so we're going to keep following. Hopefully they've caught buffalo. But of course, it's not only about the big cats, the hairies and the scaries. And a big welcome to all the Taronga Zoo family and all the schools in Australia. Now, of course, when you get a toothache at home, all you do is you go to the dentist. Out in the bush, we don't have too many dentists, and elephants and other animals get toothaches as well. So, certain tree species are high in tannins, and this is one of them. It is called a silver cluster leaf. Now, if I'm going to do this just because it doesn't taste very nice, but if I had a sore tooth, what I'd do, I'd get a whole bunch of these leaves. I'd try to get the greenest ones possible, but that's a bit difficult at the time of the year, and chew.
Okay, we're just trying to reposition here and get a better picture of this leopard for you. What is that like, Jandre, for you?
A bit forward. A bit more.
I've got a question from Brody in Hassel Grove Public School, and just wanted to know, I'm sorry, I missed the tail end of that question, Brody. Just let me ask for it again. Brody, I'm not really sure how old this hyena is, but if we look down there, it's an adult, and it could probably be 3, 4, 5 years old, maybe, Brody. It's got a bit of a limp, actually. So we're not sure what's happened, because overnight anything could have happened between these animals. They are fierce enemies, but it sounds a bit harsh, but it is the way of the African bush, and the hyena is right underneath this leopard at the moment. We've got a question from Connor in Tyala Public School. And Tyala, you're a great school, great to have you on board. And Connor, you want to know what hyenas eat. Well, hyenas are what we call opportunistic. They will take anything they possibly can from another predator, but they also are fierce hunters. They're very, very successful hunters, and when they can or when they need to, they'll hunt, but they've got an incredibly keen sense of smell. And they will try and steal a kill from another animal without question. So they will patiently wait underneath there, and sometimes they go to sleep, and that's a really incredible thing to see, that leopard sitting in the tree there, and right underneath, directly underneath, is the hyena, and the hyena is waiting for any food that falls out of that tree from that leopard. So Connor, just to answer your question again, anything they possibly can, and they will eat old bones. They've got the ability to crunch through bones like no other animal. And I have to tell you something else is interesting. Their poo is really, really white. They have lots and lots of calcium from the bones in their poo, and we can see that very obviously. And if I find some, I'll grab some for you. Harrison from Redlands Junior School, great to have you on board, mate. Really great. It's just around the corner from where I live in Sydney. It's great to have you. How do leopards catch their food? Well, the leopard is the absolute superstar, the Olympian of catching its food, and they are the quietest of the cats. They stalk. They stalk. We call them the Prince of Stealth. They stalk like a ninja, and they get so close to their prey, and then they get so close that the prey or the animal that they're going to catch cannot escape. They eat all different types of things, and from little tiny lizards up to all like baby giraffes sometimes. So they've got to eat. They've got cubs as well, and it's all part of the food chain. Thanks so much, mate. Got a question from Jake in Marulan Public School. He wanted to know how long leopards live for. Well, some of the books say up to about 15, and then I've read some of the other books that say up to about 20. Jake, it really does depend on where they are and how much pressure they've got from other animals. Sometimes they can be lucky, Jake, as well. They can have a really good long lifespan because there's not a lot of other predators in their area. Or sometimes they might have a fight with another animal or another leopard for that matter and get an injury. Remember, there's no vets out here in the wild. Nature takes its own course here, and if an animal does get an injury, sometimes it can heal and other times it can't, but normally 15 to 20 years if they're lucky. Riley from Hassel Grove, great to have you on board as well. Fantastic to see that you're watching, guys. That's a great question, Riley, about how old is this leopard. Well, we don't often know how old our leopards are, but this particular leopard, this is Karula, and she's known as the Queen of Djuma. She's a very famous leopard, and she's a beautiful, beautiful leopard, and we know when she was born. She's 12 years old. So she's getting towards the end of her breeding, being able to be a mum around 12 to 15. So she's 12 years old, and she's an incredible, incredible cat. We're very lucky to be with her, and I'm so excited to be able to show you a wild leopard. Hunter from Redlands again. Brilliant question. How old is a leopard when it learns to climb a tree? Well, Gendre and I were here yesterday, and we went to leopard school yesterday. It was brilliant. Karula took that food up into that tree for her cubs to teach them how to get up there and feed. And that was at about, they're 7 months old at the moment. But Gendre, I can ask Gendre the question actually. When was the first time you saw these cubs maybe start to climb? When they're about 2 months? So Gendre's been here for a lot, he works here all the time, and Gendre just said the first time he saw the leopards start to climb a tree was about 2 months. So they'll start to experiment, just like us as kids. We'll start to climb things in the playground or trees or whatever, and the leopards start to experiment like that as well. But we saw the leopards yesterday at 7 months old go up that tree really, really quickly. So great question, mate. Thanks so much for watching. So you might hear another vehicle arriving, kids, and that vehicle is another game drive vehicle out looking for wonderful animals as well. Ruby from Camaray Public School. Fantastic to have you again, just around the corner from my place, Ruby. Really love to have your whole school with us today. Ruby, you want to know whether hyenas use termite mounds? I think that's what the question is. Just let me double check what that question is again. Yeah, great, Ruby. It is. I wasn't sure if I heard it correctly just when that other vehicle pulled up. Ruby, they do use termite mounds to make as dens to have their cubs. And you know what? There's another animal, and maybe you guys could have a look online, or you could have a look in some books with your teacher and look up an aardvark. Aardvark is a fantastic animal that we don't see very often, and aardvarks dig holes in termite mounds and make their dens, and then after they move locations or move to another house, other animals take over their spot, and you might get warthogs moving in, you might get hyenas moving in, you might get African wild dog moving in to have their pups, and sometimes they do renovations just like we do on our houses, and they make them bigger, they make them different, and leopard will definitely also use them sometimes as well. Great question, Ruby. Thank you so much. We've got a great question from Miss Morrison, from Carlton Public School. Welcome aboard, and hats off to you, teacher. So, ma'am, you've got these guys watching us live this morning, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Miss Morrison. It really hats off to all the teachers again. You want to know whether hyenas use their spots as camouflage, and if they really do laugh like you see in movies and things. The vocalization of the hyena definitely does sound a little bit like a laugh, and it does get quite frantic sometimes when it's a real social thing. There's lots of different types of vocalizations they use to communicate. So it does sound a little bit like a laugh, and that's why sometimes they do get that laughing hyena name called to them. But spotted hyena is their correct name, and the spots would definitely give them camouflage. Sometimes it's really hard to see a hyena moving through the bush, or even if you're just sitting there and they're lying flat, they're very difficult to see. So yeah, thank you very much, Miss Morrison, for coming on board and bringing your kids. So what we're going to do now is, whilst we're staying with this spotted hyena and Karula the leopard, we're going to link over to James and see what he's up to. But fantastic questions, kids and teachers. Keep them coming through. We'll come right back to you just now.
Right, everybody, we're driving around at quite a speed at the moment because the bushwalk, as you've just seen, has got some lion tracks. They're not too far from here. They've got what we call some nyala, which are a different kind of antelope barking. They don't bark like dogs. Well, they do a little bit. But when they see something they don't like lions, for example, they go, bah, bah, bah. And that low-frequency sound travels through the bushes and to our ears, and then we can follow up and see if what they're barking at. So that's where the bushwalk is, and we're going to head down in that direction. The little bird that you saw flying over there, that was a hornbill, everybody. You've all seen the Lion King. That's like the Zazu bird. Hayes Park School, you want to know where exactly we are in Africa. We're in the northeast corner of South Africa, so if you imagine a map of Africa, sort of the fat bit with the Sahara at the top, and then comes down to the south where we are, with the southernmost part of Africa, and then we're in the northeast corner, and that's called the Kruger National Park. It's 8.5 million acres, or 3.5 million hectares of wilderness here in the northeast corner. It's one of the most famous national parks in all the world. It was I think it was probably one of the very first, and it's almost 100 years old now. It was a good question, thank you. Now, you have seen lots of the trees here don't have much in the way of leaves on them, but there are a few things that are quite interesting. Brian, can we look at the baboon's tail there? There's a plant there called a baboon's tail. You see that? and that's a very important plant locally. You can use that as one of the species. Its Latin name is Xerophyta retinervis, and the local people here use it to ward off lightning. So if there are storms, people will plant that plant around their homes, and that will hopefully stop the lightning striking the roof. That is the baboon's tail. Let us continue. I'm going to move up a little quicker, see if we can't find those lions. Now, Lansdowne Public School, you were asking as a collective, and you want to know how long we see lions, how often we see them. We see them just about every day. I'd say probably 5 times a week or so we'll see lions. So there's a really good chance we'll see them today. I just hope we see them while you are all still with us. There's nothing down here. I've seen lions eating a nyala in this very place here. There's nyala with the antelope that were alarm calling with the bushwalk. But they're not eating anything here right now. It's a very, very, very good question here from Seaham Public School. You say... You say, what time do we get up in the morning? Very early is the answer, always before sunrise. So in summer, that's obviously much earlier. We get onto the vehicles at 4:30 in the morning, so we're normally out of bed by 4, depending on whether you want coffee or not. Brian doesn't drink coffee in the morning, so he can get up just before he gets up, but I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning in summer. And then Ash, you want to know how many hours we do this for a day? 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the evening, and it just depends. It gets earlier as the sunrise gets earlier, so we try and be around sunrise and then around sunset, because that's when most of the animals are active and moving about the place. Now, just listen carefully here. Listen. Isn't that a beautiful sound? That is the sound, everybody, of a beautiful African morning. It's a white-browed scrub robin you can hear going. And then you can also hear a woodpecker going tick, 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 tick. That's the bearded woodpecker. You can count both of those species. Then we had a question about the size of this wilderness area that we are traversing. We are traversing an area of roughly 3,000 hectares, which if you operate in acres is about 6,500 acres. Isn't that a lovely sound? Just spotted him, Brian. Now everyone, I know the lions are very exciting, but these little things, these little creatures are, when you spend a lot of time here, they're just as exciting. Just going to quickly see if we can't find this white-browed scrub robin. There he is. He's in that greenish tree moving around there. No, that's not him. Look, everybody, that's a chin spot batis. Isn't he lovely? That's the chin spot batis. Let's head back to Brent. He's on foot and he's got a little more signal and hopefully some more lion tracks.
So we disappeared last time when I was explaining about dentists in the bush. So we were looking at a silver cluster leaf, which is the name of the tree I was chewing on last time. But there's another tree that is also used as a dentist, and human beings are not the only ones. Baby elephants chew this when they've got sore teeth, when they're teething. Now, of course, it's a Taronga Zoo's 100th centenary year, and we're looking to find 100 species out while we're about in the African bush. So we've got our second tree species, and this is called the common spikethorn. And again, I'm going to do this because I like you, because it's very high in tannins, and especially with the drought we're going through now. Any leaf here is so high in tannins to stop the animals eating it, but it does work as a pain reliever for toothache. And now, I can feel my my gums start to go numb, and my tongue. It's very unpleasant because I don't have a sore tooth, but if I did, I'd collect a whole big bunch of these leaves and chew on them and then leave them over my sore tooth. Yum. not yam. Okay, we're going to keep looking for lions. Hi, Charlie. Charlie's from Seaham Primary. Charlie's wondering, how do I know what footprint belongs to what animal? Well, Charlie, I've been really lucky. I've had some incredible teachers in the bush, and I've grown up in the bush. So this is my classroom. So even when I was very little, I had a teacher who lived with us in the bush. So our classroom was literally in the middle of the bush. So if we have a look, let's try to find you a track here, Charlie, to show you. If we don't, I'll have to draw one, and that could be a bit embarrassing. Okay, here's a little bit of soft sand on. So a lion or a cat has a paw, and so does a hyena. So a lion or leopard has little lobes like that at the back, and does that, and then you've got their toes. It's not the best drawing in the world, gives you a good idea. Now if we were looking for a buffalo has got two hooves, something like that. And there we go, buffalo hooves. And then if we had an impala or something smaller, gives you a good idea. So even if you live out in Australia, go have a look. If you see a kangaroo go past, go look for the footprints, and then you'll learn that animal's footprints. So that's one of the best ways. If you see an animal, you go and look for the footprint so you can learn it. Okay, let's keep moving. Josh is wondering, do we put any tracking devices on animals? And Josh is at Stratford, and the answer to that, Josh, is no. So in certain circumstances, very rarely, if there's a scientific research project, we might do that. But normally, we track them the good old-fashioned way, like we're doing at the moment. So what has happened is we've heard some Impala alarm calling. So a lot of animals, if they see a lion or a leopard, they'll warn everyone else. So imagine if you were walking down the street and you saw something dangerous coming and you shout a warning. It's exactly the same, except an Impala's warning goes something like this. Boom! So it's a deep bark, and what he's saying is, lion! Lion! And then all the other herbivores in the area will be able to hear that. And we're going to keep going through the bush here. And we're going very slowly, very carefully in case the lions are close by. That's why we've got Herbie with us. And Herbie's making sure, while I'm talking to you, that I don't stumble into a lion. But here we go. This is quite a fascinating little spot. You can see elephants have been feeding here. Now, lots of big thorns on this. So this is our third tree. This is a red thorn, an acacia tree. So you can see the big thorns that are supposed to be there for defense. But an animal like an elephant has got a mouth like an old boot. So it's able to munch straight through that. Now the main part that the elephants are after, watch out there, I'm going to pull the thorns. Okay. See, now imagine I'm an elephant. You know how strong they are, because I'm quite a big guy and I'm still battling to pull this out. Oh, there we go. Okay. So here we go. Have a look at this. Very interesting. You can see that this whole section has no bark on it whatsoever. There we go. So that is what the elephants are after. And they're after the bark because all the water and minerals and nutrients comes up from the ground into the branches through that. And what an elephant does, I'm not going to do it because there's a lot of thorns on this one, is it'll put it in its mouth and it goes, and it literally grinds the bark off. You can see it doesn't even break the things, it grinds all the nutrient rich levels off. Yum, yum, yum. Bit nicer than the leaves I was eating earlier. I'd say, oh, I'm hooked. There we go, I'm off hook. So you will notice a lot of trees, and we might show you some other different trees as we walk through the bush that the elephants have been feeding on. But while we go carry on looking for our lions, I know Hayden has got the second most dominant apex predator out here in the African bush.
Well, our hyena friend has just moved away from underneath Karula and gone back up onto the bank and laid down. And that's a good sign, just to know that there's going to be some interesting things happening here over the next few hours. The hyenas are incredibly patient creatures, and they will just wait until the opportunity is right, and if any of that food falls down, they will be taking it. We've got a question from Tanita in Hayes Park School. Thank you so much for watching, guys. It's really, really cool to have you on board. Live from Africa. Do you believe that? You're watching this live in your classroom. We're answering your questions. You want to know if there's any endangered animals here. There's lots and lots of different endangered animals here in Africa. But in our particular area, we're in a protected area here, so there's a very, very good lion population, leopard population, there's great elephant populations and other animals, but there's not a lot that I can mention here because it's such a beautiful protected area. But outside, sometimes that does happen, and that might happen in any environment or any country where you've got a lot of pressure on an area from human population or habitat loss. That's one of the biggest things as well, Tanita. So maybe you guys could do a project at school and try and figure out what animals in your local area, Australian animals, might be endangered, and then have a look on the other side of the world and maybe compare it to another country and just learn a little bit about endangered animals. We're very, very lucky to be in a protected area here. So one of the things I just want to say to you is any ideas that you get from this safari live broadcast, maybe go out and have a look, do a project on all the predators in Africa, all the predators in the world, predators in Africa and predators in Australia, anything you want, but something really, 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 really cute that I want to show you. Have a look at this. That is a leopard cub, and he is asleep. And he's just staying well away from that hyena, that's for sure. And he's quick enough now to be able to get up that tree very, very quickly. He's got a super keen sense here of hearing, and he'll be definitely on his toes. He'd go right up that tree if that hyena came anywhere near. So his mum is up the tree over the other side. And he is just lying down there, but he might look like he's asleep and sound asleep if that leopard was even to tread on a leaf. I'm sorry, that hyena was to tread on a leaf, he would be straight up that tree. So they're at an age now where they can escape predators, but I have to say, got to be very, very careful because hyenas are very dangerous for leopards. But at the same time, they are a very, very important predator. And I really want you all to walk away from Safari Live today knowing that hyenas play a very, very special, special place. Got a question from Caleb in Hassel Grove Public School. Great to have you on board, guys. Really wonderful to be able to talk to you live from Africa. And how many cubs are in a litter? It's normally 1 to 3. There's not much more than that. And to have successful 2 cubs survive all the way through is incredible. Karula is an amazing mother, and she's been a successful mother with a lot of cubs. So 1 to 3 is the number. I've got a question from Packy in John Palmer Public School, and you want to know where do leopards find protection when it comes to the rain? Well, you know what? A lot of animals actually cope with the rain a lot better than we do. We're a bit soft, us humans. We get out of it, we put our jackets on and our umbrellas. But you know what? Animals cope with the rain. In extreme weather, so really, really bad weather, they might find a little bit of shelter up under a little ledge in a dry creek bed or something like that, or in a bush. And I have to say, cats don't really love it. You see them, they're sitting there looking a bit sorry for themselves with the rain pelting on them, particularly lions, you see that. So they will try and find a bit of shelter, but sometimes in open areas they don't have a choice, so they'll just have to cope with it. They're pretty tough animals, a lot tougher than we are, that's for sure. So one of the other things, whilst we're looking at this beautiful cub, I just want to ask you a little bit to try and follow on from Safari Live today and try and come up with some project ideas with your teachers. Try and come up with some ideas. If you get stuck for any ideas, you can go onto the Taronga Zoo website. You can contact the Taronga Zoo Education Department as well, and we can give you loads of ideas, because even though we're in Africa and we're talking to you about all these beautiful animals here, you've got just as beautiful animals in your home country country as well. And you might be watching from somewhere else in the world, but I'm just talking at the minute to the Australian schools that are watching. Have a look at the animals that are around your area and the animals that will really need to have a little bit more help in Australia. One of the animals that we really do champion at Taronga Zoo is the corroboree frog. You might be able to do a little bit of a project on that. We've got a great breeding program going there. Or you might be able to do it on the Regent honeyeater, marine turtles, loads of other things. Get onto the Taronga Zoo website and have a look for that. I think we've got a question from, is it Canley Heights? Just confirm that for me. Okay, we've got a question from, I think it's Conley Heights I'm getting there at school. Let me just check the name of that. How long does will the leopard protect? Conley Heights. Okay, thank you so much. Sorry, I just had a bit of a break-up in my earpiece. Thanks, Rebecca. I do apologise. So I'm talking to Rebecca. I'm getting messages from her in my earpiece about all your wonderful questions coming through, and it just broke up a little bit as I got that name. Conley Heights, fantastic to have you on board. How long will the leopard look after its food? Well, it gets to a point, there's still a lot of food up there, and she will protect that food, but she's also very, very clever. She will stay up there. She might have a little bit more of a meal on that, but now that this hyena's here, their patience is extraordinary. Their patience, they'll just wait and wait and wait. She might decide to, when she gets the opportunity, get down and leave that and take her cubs and go away, and then the hyena might just wait around for that. So we don't really know, but that's the fantastic thing about the bush. We'll just find out as we sit here and watch. Little leopard cub's put his head up there. He's just watching. And this one's name is Hasana? No, Shongile. I always get them mixed up. There's a boy and a girl. And this is Shongile. Gorgeous, 7 months old, born on 2nd of February. Jessica from CM Public School. Fantastic to have you on board. Great stuff. What's my favourite animal? Goodness, that's a hard question to answer. We get asked that question a lot, and you know what? I have to give an answer that I love them all, but I really do love leopard. I love giraffe as well, one of my favourite animals, and we've got loads of those at Taronga Zoo and Western Plains Zoo out in Dubbo. Giraffe are one of my favourite creatures, and we haven't seen them a lot the last couple of days, but I'm going to try and search for some. I really love elephant as well, and I love lion. I love African wild dog. I love everything, but giraffe and leopard are two of my absolute favourites. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We're just going to have a little look at that hyena again. So really, I'd say it one more time. I want you to go away and see if you want to do a project on hyenas and find out a little bit more about hyenas, because I think there's a lot of stories you hear about hyenas and you see them in movies. You might have seen them on cartoons or some movies that have made hyenas out to be the bad guys. They're definitely not the bad guys. They are such fantastic creatures, incredibly interesting. They've got really, really interesting facts about them that I think you should do a project on at school and maybe look into a little bit more and learn that hyenas fit into the ecosystem perfectly, just like all the other animals do. So the interesting thing for me, guys, is I'm going to tell you now, we've only got about 2 minutes to go, I think, and I just want to finish up by saying to you how important it is that you, all of you watching right now, are our little special agents. You are our agents. You are our little soldiers in the army of conservation. And you are the ones that are going to keep this planet as it is, or you're going to protect this planet, protect all these animals in Australia, in Africa, in Asia, in North America. You are the ones that are going to protect them. And you don't know what the future is going to bring for you. And if you really want to work with animals or wildlife or conservation, you know what? You've got to follow your heart. You've got to follow your dreams. That's what I did. And when I was at school, I really wanted to be a zookeeper. I really wanted to do what I'm doing now, and I followed my dream. So you can do it. I'm nothing special. I'm just a normal person. Gendre, normal person, but all the other guys, Brent and James, all normal people, but we just followed our dream, and that's what we want to do. And you can do it too. That's the really important thing. You've got to follow that dream, and if you want to work with wildlife, you can do it. Just wanted to let you know that what you're doing right now, and all your teachers, I tell you what, your teachers have to have another round of applause. So I want you to all give a big cheer for your teachers right now and thank them all for doing such a wonderful, wonderful job. I'm going to round off and say goodbye. Gendre says goodbye. You'll probably see his thumb come round in a minute. And I want to say thank you so much to Taronga Zoo Education Department and Taronga Conservation Society for allowing us to do this in collaboration with Wild Earth. Here we are on Safari Live from Africa, right into your classroom, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure to be with you. Let's finish off by looking at this little cub. We'll see you tomorrow if you're with us again. Have a great one, guys. Okay guys, thank you very much everyone else that was watching. We've signed off with our schools in Australia, which is brilliant, and what a great thing. Karula's just coming down. Karula's just coming down the tree. I'm not in a very good position here guys, but I don't dare move. She's come down the tree. I can't really move. The hyena has stayed exactly where it is. We've just got Karula through there. Very interesting here. So the hyena is staying exactly where it is, and it's laid back down. This is quite incredible. Normally you would see that hyena hop up and take the opportunity to scare that leopard off. But Karula is just out of shot at the moment. Just in there you can see her. And as I said, I don't really want to move the vehicle or start the vehicle, folks, so I know you understand. I just want to watch this behaviour with you. Picking up scent. You always see when those animals, they, particularly hyena, put their head in the air like that. Thing we saw before. We saw that hyena come down underneath the tree where Karula was, and that hyena is limping, is very, very lame on its back right leg. So we don't know what happened last night. We don't know whether there was a skirmish between those guys or whether it was an existing injury. But the thing that I am a little bit concerned about is I can only find one cub. But there's a good chance that the other little cub is holed up somewhere. We will cross over to James, and whilst we're looking for this other cub, we'll see what James is up to. I think he's got something quite special. We'll see you just now.
We're having a very, very special sighting here, everybody. A big herd of elephants has just decided to cross the road, both sides of us. The big matriarch behind, the rest of them coming around the front. And now they've stopped moving. They're just listening. Obviously some command is being waited for by the matriarch behind us. She's just finishing off her current stick for breakfast. Comes a younger cow. Good morning. Actually I think a young cow. And then a much bigger cow. That's her there. This is wonderful. Oh, this is just special. It's right next to us, everyone. Completely relaxed. This is so special. Oh, and the smell of elephant, everyone. The smell of elephant is completely distinct and it is so nice. It's like a sort of, how have I described it? A sweet leather. And there they go. We just move a little bit forward. And we can talk normally now. Ah, that was very special. So when we came through here, they were all kind of silently in the bush, and then as you came across to us, they started to move, and they just blasted past us as some inaudible command was given, probably by the matriarch. Now they're wandering down to the south. That does really fill the soul, I have to say. Justin S., you're wondering as they disappear into the woodland there, what it is or how they know what trees to eat and which ones to avoid, and do they learn? Yes, we think largely, Justin, that there is a huge mentorship process that takes place with young elephants, that the older ones teach them what plants to eat and what to avoid. I think also there's a lot in the way of self-medication that goes on with the elephants. I think that they eat specific trees for the specific nutrients that they offer, and that helps them maintain their health. This time of the year though, Justin, they're pretty much taking anything they can get. But it's so interesting now, we've just seen them, or we were just watching them disappear. It was quite clear that they had been feeding in the area where we were sitting for quite some time before they then decided to go off where they are now. And you can see they're not feeding now. They're not feeding through this woodland. They're obviously moving to a different spot where the matriarch has told them, or perhaps another older cow has remembered that there's some good food to eat. So they moved from one feeding section and now they've moved off to another. They didn't kind of feed through here, and there's no obvious difference between the woodland where they are now and the woodland where they have been feeding. So quite interesting, that, I think. Alright, let's go and find out what's happening on the bushwalk. We'll continue towards Buffelshoek Dam.
We're still on the trail of the Nkohoma Pride of Lions. We've just had some Inyala alarm calls not too far away. So the ground's really hard, but we're just going very slowly, checking for tracks. And fingers crossed we're going to find them. So we're pretty sure they're in this area around us somewhere. We've just done a big loop up to the side to make sure they haven't gone north. And so far so good. No tracks going north. So we're going to head back towards last tracks and try follow up on them again. But while we do that, let's go back to the cats in the bag with Hayden.
Well, this is a very interesting situation. Look at that. You don't get that very often. I'll just get out of your way. We've got Karula has just come down the tree and is lying only about probably 3, 4 meters, 5 meters away from the hyena. That is quite incredible. Hyena didn't even flinch when Karula came down, but Karula has chosen to stay there as well. Now, I'm sure many of you are concerned about Hasana, the other cub. We did just see a little remnant of a tail on the other side there, so both cubs are fine, all good. And I know that many of you would have been concerned, but everything is good there, and we're just now watching. So the cubs are well off. They're probably about 30, 40 meters away. Gendre's just going to try and find him over there in the tree. It's a very tricky spot we're in, where, as we said yesterday, you can just see some spots there, just to the right of the trunk of that tree. There's some spots on the ground, and that's where Hasana is, and Shongile is down below, who we had just down to the right down there. Gendre's doing an amazing job this morning, looking through all this dense vegetation. But we're in a trick. There you go, there's a little bit of movement there. So that's Shongile, and then Hasana is up on the other side there. So the cubbies are fine. Excuse me, please. But I'm more mystified by this incredible behaviour that we've got. So look how quietly Shongile is moving. Very, very quietly. I don't know whether he's coming down. He's going down into the drainage line. We're going to lose sight of him in a second. But his mum is standing there, or lying there. That is for sure, with every sense of hers on full alert at the moment. We could see some quite incredible behaviour here. It is absolutely incredible, folks. We're getting lots of people commenting on this incredible behaviour that we're watching at the moment. I totally agree with everyone. I mean, normally what we see, folks, don't we? We see the hyena charge the leopard as soon as it comes out of the tree and chase it off, or the leopard just come down the tree and run. But Karula has chosen to sit there. Hyena's now stood up. Incredibly keen sense of hearing. Extraordinary behaviour. Karula watching the hyena's every move. Definitely got a bad limp on that right hind leg. Got a question from Michael, wondering his question, and welcome aboard, Michael. Fantastic to have you with us, watching this incredible behaviour right here. Is Karula more relaxed now because she knows that the hyena is injured? Well, I would love to be able to say that I know that, Michael, but at a guess, we don't know what happened last night. We don't know whether Karula is responsible for that injury or whether it was an existing injury. So there is a possibility that Karula is intuitive enough to pick that up, or whether Karula did have an interaction with that hyena last night and is the one that's responsible, and she does know that. I really can't say that I could know either way, Michael, but it's a very interesting perception, and I did think of it myself before. She's definitely relaxed around this, and the interesting thing is the cubs also are at that age, 7 months of age. They're fast, they're agile, they can ascend trees very, very quickly. They're alert, they're in a really good place. I would be really concerned if we were looking at 2-month-olds or something like that, but then again they probably wouldn't be out and as exposed as they are. But Karula is super chilled. Well, we're perceiving that she's super chilled, but she's definitely not looking that stressed about anything. But sometimes, you know what, I've been walking in Pilanesberg National Park with a wonderful guide out there years and years back, and we went walking, and there was a couple of different species of antelope, and you know what, they would see us and they would actually end up following us in a sense to keep us in vision. And sometimes animals will like to keep another animal in its sights rather than running off and not knowing where that animal is. So I think Karula is in a good spot here. She knows where that hyena is. She knows where her cubs are. And, you know, sometimes animals do incredible things where, as opposed to running away, and you see it a lot with predators around waterholes, you'll find the whole herd of zebras or impala or whatever would rather keep an eye on the predator rather than just taking off and then not knowing where it is, because that's the time when you're better to know where your enemy is rather than be guessing. Yeah, it was really interesting to find those antelope would always keep us in their sights when we were walking through the bush. But yeah, that hyena's not looking 100%, I have to say. Might come through it, but quite an incredible thing to see a hyena lying down, resting, Karula lying down on the ground, resting, the cubs completely fine as well, and the kill still up the tree. Really incredible thing to see this morning. It still is quite an astonishing sort of behaviour when you do see a leopard that is, well, big adult leopard male is heavier than a striped hyena, a brown hyena, probably equal sometimes to a spotted hyena, but they will run always from hyena. They will fight, you know, when it comes to protecting their young, and there'll be battles and those sorts of things, but it does still mystify a lot of people why these animals will actually run from hyena when they're incredibly powerful. But they've definitely done it right for themselves. Okay, so whilst we're here, everything's settled, everything's quiet. We're going to stick with Karula and the hyena and the cubs. I'm going to cross over to James and see how he's going with those beautiful big beasts, if he's still with them, or if he's found something else for us. We'll be back with you just now.
We have seen two things, everybody. One, the Steenbok running at great speed down to the south, and two, some Impala up ahead. Let's go and have a look at them. No, let's not. We can. I mean, we've seen Impala. I just want to see, the one piece of inner bark that I haven't eaten is that of Ziziphus mucronata. Would you like to eat some Ziziphus mucronata inner bark, Brian?
I'm quite peckish.
Yes, have you got a rusk today?
I've got many rusks.
Ah, well, you would maybe like to show the viewers one of your rusks while I retrieve you something nutritious. Now, here is Ziziphus, everyone, and I'm going to cut away a bit of the bark with the knife that Steph very kindly sharpened for me. That's not quite the inner bark yet. 1 second. Right, here we go. 1 piece for me. 1 piece for Rusky Eater. Do you see how skilled I was with my knife there, Brian?
Amazing.
Whittling. I was whittling
away.
the wood. There you are.
Thank you. Oh, yep.
Yes, don't stab yourself. It's actually really good.
It's very tasty. So
Sweet.
very sweet.
Well, that's why they like it, everyone. And you can see how this particular one here...
Standing by for Karula.
Sorry. You can see how this stick has been completely cleaned. Completely and absolutely cleaned of bark. Amazing.
His radio's off. I'm just trying to make sure that we don't.
Unbelievable.
If it's only you, I'll tell him.
Sorry, I left the radio on. That's very bad of me. Very naughty indeed. Plug myself back in. It's one of those mornings that starts off relatively warm and remains at the same temperature, so you don't warm up because of this front that's coming through. That's really pretty good inner bark, I'd say.
I think one of the best things that we've eaten.
I think it might be one of the best things that we've eaten. How does it compare with your rusk?
A lot softer
And less palm oil.
and less palm oil.
Yes, very good. Okay, let's head on down here. There's some Impala further up, and also we're going to head towards Buffelshoek Dam and see what we can find there. There were some tracks of lions apparently, oh, excuse me, heading this way. But I don't know. We haven't found tracks of that pride again. Herbert and Brent are still knocking about in the area where we think they went. Who knows? And there are the Impala. They will want to be a little bit careful, of course, of the buffalo that was injured last night by those lions. The lions may have killed it and be eating it somewhere. The lack of tracks crossing in and out of that block indicates to me that that could well be the case. What do you think? You think yes? He just doesn't care. He's very disdainful of me, Brian.
I think it's because you looked at him funny.
I think it could be. It is amazing to me how an animal that is well, you know how it is with your house pets. How an animal that is seemingly unthinking and not as intellectually accomplished as we as human beings are, how if they ignore you, you feel so dreadfully, dreadfully rejected. There you are. I feel better now. Thank you. That's a sympathetic one there. Here we are. Alrighty. Let's carry on. And then he didn't care, as Rebecca says. Then he didn't care. Well, he didn't have any Sisyphus bark. I'm glad. Look, I mean, it was quite nice, everyone. I mean, there's a sweetish taste to it, but it's not a breakfast substitute. No, it's no rusk with raisins in it. No muesli rusk. Just in case you are a new viewer, a rusk, of course, a South African food that in most parts of the world would be considered a building material. It has the consistency of a cinder block and roughly the same taste. Hello, Mobile Patty. That's very kind of you. You say you might have to send some care packages to Djuma because of you can see that we're obviously desperately hungry, trying to find bits and pieces to eat here in the drought. Well, Mobile Patty, yeah, it's been a tough dry season, hasn't it, Brian? We're waiting for the spring so that we can eat a few fruits and maybe suck on a few flowers for the nectar. Maybe some berries, but they only come in the winter time, so we've got a long time to wait before we're going to see a berry again. Oh, mobile Paddy, it's really difficult. You can see how emaciated we are. All we've got is rusks. Not so, Brian. Paul, very good question. You say, why haven't we been to cheetah plains lately? We haven't seen ostrich or cheetah for a long time. We have been, but there wasn't anything there the last time. The reason that we're all knocking about here today was obviously Karula is down the south with Hayden, and we were really hoping to find those lions. There's a red-billed hornbill on the ground there. Ah. And some elephants I can hear. Breaking sticks. Eating Sisyphus bark. We'll go and see if we can find them, everyone. While we do that, let's go and get an update from Brent and Herbert. Maybe they've got something more useful to tell you about those lions than I've been able to.
We're still looking for the lions. I think I've just heard 4 contact calls very close. So we're just listening very carefully in that direction. Here we go. I've heard them again. Sounds maybe 100 meters in front of us. So we're going to go really, really slowly. It's exciting. We can hear the lions. That soft contact call. So we're in the area where we started out this morning. We've had tracks of them chasing things up and down all over the place. They chased zebra. We are between Gallagher Shortcut and a Vubu Road in Gallagher. They're chasing something. They're chasing something. I can just hear hooves. Yeah, we've got them. We've got them. Okay, we've got them. There we go, Herb. There we go, Herbie. Come have them. No, wait, I just want to call Jen. You see them, Vim? Yeah. There we go, we've got them. Okay, so I'm just going to call James. You see them, Vim? Come inside a bit. James, come straight onto Gallagher Shortcut. We'll stand by for you here. We're just to the south of that second track that comes off the Shortcut line. So there we go, we can see her. Just calling James. So we knew they were in the area, the tracks are all over the place. Okay, we don't want to scare them. So we're going to stay right here and keep an eye on them. We just want to make sure that there aren't others around, because they were contact calling, so they could have been spread while they were hunting. So it's often that your ears find animals before your eyes. So just that soft contact call is what gave her away to us. I'm just going to see if anyone's closer. Let's just move back a little bit. Just so we can get there's a nice window we can see her from just over here. And also if we start retreating a little bit, it makes her feel a little bit safer. So if we come back to about, I'm just trying to find a good, she's going to move. That's what I was worried about. That's why we're moving back. And she's walking, she's not running. Oh, there we go. Okay. Well, she's moved off. I'm pretty sure the rest of the pride are there, and we don't want to put pressure on them. So what we're going to do is we're going to stay here, but I'm not going to go any closer. So lions on foot during the day, they are scared of us. We are the dominant diurnal predator during the day. So I don't want to chase them so the game drives can still find them. And also if we keep walking them, they might become aggressive with us, which is again what we don't want. So this is perfect success. We've found the lions on foot. Now we get James and the other game drive vehicles in here. And so while we stand